Have you ever had a mountaintop experience? Some may not. Some may have had more than one mountaintop experience. If you have had one, you will know you have had a mountaintop experience. It's like nothing else that you will ever experience. You will feel warm inside. You will feel comfortable. You will feel like you want to stay where you are and never leave. You don't want to go back into the world. It's just not right anymore. That is a mountaintop experience. Peter's confession at Caesarea Philippi was the beginning just before this story. A few days later, Jesus takes Peter and John and James, and they go up into a mountain to pray. The mountain most likely was Mount Hermon, which is 9,400 feet high, one of the highest peaks in the area, as close as they could get to heaven. It was only about 14 miles from Caesarea Philippi, therefore it was close at hand, an easy walk in a day. Jesus and the disciples climbed to one of the slopes or to the top. We're not sure. It doesn't say. It doesn't matter. They were up on the mountain. It was a hard climb, and because of the lateness of the hour, the disciples were very tired and fell asleep. Is there anything like me that can fall asleep in the afternoon just like that? And in the evening, 7:30, quarter to 8, you're out again. You're in the middle of the most exciting programming. I'm asleep. Annoying. I go to bed, and I wake up. However, they were asleep. They woke up to see Jesus in a glorified state. Luke says he was transfigured before them. The Greek word translated as transfigured is more literally metamorphosed. That is to change, to become different. It's the same as the metamorphosis that the monarch butterfly goes through from that ugly worm to a beautiful butterfly. And other moths and butterflies do the same kind of thing. They change. Now Jesus always, when he needed to get away and think, found a solitary place. That's why they went up on the hill, up on the mountain, so he could be alone with the inner circle to pray, to talk with his Father about what was coming in the next week or so. He needed to get everything straightened out, to be sure he had done all he was to do when he came, to prepare himself for what was coming. Here he is, changed, indicating a radical change, a whiteness of his garments, and a brightness of the aura of his presence. The disciples saw Moses and Elijah with Jesus in this scene, and they were terrified. They knew it was Moses. They knew it was Elijah. They had read about them. They had been dead a long time, yet here they are with Jesus. The impact of the story for Jesus, I think, is that the Transfiguration was the first of an affirmation of Jesus' ministry. It affirmed what he had done, that you have done well. It was God's stamp of approval for him in the understanding of his ministry. The voice of God from the cloud declared, "This is my beloved. Believe him. Listen to him." my Son, in whom I am well pleased. Moses and Elijah were servants, but Jesus was called my beloved Son. Moses, the giver of the law, Elijah, a prophet. Here was one who was greater than the lawgiver, Moses, greater than Elijah the prophet, the noted prophet who appeared with Jesus. Luke says that Moses and Elijah discussed the departure of Jesus. Greek word here translated departure can be translated exodus. They discussed Jesus' exodus, his exit. Like the children of Israel leaving Egypt. What they were discussing was that Moses had led Israel in the Exodus. Now Jesus, the Son, was soon to begin a new Exodus, a new covenant, a new relationship with God. Until now, people were guided by the law to find relationship with God. The mystical transfiguration was also a witness and encouragement to Jesus' disciples. At first they were terrified. They didn't know what to make of this vision. Put yourself in their place. What would you think if you were up on a hilltop with your leader and he was suddenly changed and glowed white? And it was very bright and it was hard to see. And with him are two others. I'm sure we'd all have a party jumping around enjoying it. Terrified, I think, is more the point. And this strange voice out of the cloud. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Later on, the disciples would reflect on what they had seen and write about it. And they write about it, Peter writes in his second letter, and I want to read it to you. In the first chapter of 2 Peter, at verse 16 of the first chapter. But he was rebuked for his wrongdoing by a donkey, a beast without speech, who spoke with a man's voice and restrained the prophet's madness. These men were springs without water, mists driven by storm. Blackest darkness is reserved for them. For they mouth empty, boastful words, and by adhering to the lustful desires of sinful human nature, they entice people who are just, escaping from those who live in error. And I don't believe that's right. I think it's 1 Peter. Yes, it is. Live as free men, but do not use your freedom as a cover-up for evil. Live as servants of God. Show proper respect to everyone. Love the brotherhood of believers. Fear God. Honor the king. Slaves, submit yourselves to your masters with all respect, not only to those who are good and considerate, but also to those who are harsh. Isn't that what Jesus was talking about? Being good to others? Respecting people? Showing love? They saw the glory of Christ manifest in that moment on the mountain, and on many other occasions they had seen him and would see him again. That mountaintop experience was to them an affirmation of who Jesus was. Here God affirmed in their minds that Jesus was engaged in the work and ministry that God planned for him. This vision helped them understand their perception of Jesus and his ministry. Did you know that many people meet angels unaware? Did you ever think about that? You meet someone, you've never seen them before, and you never see them again, but you have a conversation and it's interesting. It's right on what you've been thinking about. My mother related a story. She said that on a winter's day, back when Niagara got winter, and they were getting the old-fashioned winters again with all the snow. It was snowing and blowing, and a man, traveling salesman, she thought, showed up at her door. Snow on his coat and his hat. She invited him in. Gave him a seat, he took his hat and coat off, she hung it so it would dry a bit. She offered him something warm to drink, some hot soup to warm him. They talked for a time. He thanked her, he got up, put his clothes on and went out the door, and she never saw him again. But she had, she said, a quiet, comfortable feeling after he had left. And for her, she said, it was as if I had met the Lord and spoken with him. It most likely came during a point in time when she was having her own internal problems. My mother was the sounding board for my older sister, her older sister, and her younger sister. They would fight, and both would come to her and want her to take their side against the other. And there she sat in the middle. She didn't wear a referee's sweater, but she should have. Other things floated through her mind. Other things were on her mind from time to time. Angels unaware. What does this strange story of Jesus' transfiguration that is recorded in Luke, what does it mean to us? What does it say to us today? Does it have anything for us? First of all, I think it reminds all of us to look up from time to time and take time to be apart by yourself, to meditate and to pray. A lot of us go through lives that are filled with heavy burdens of illness, of grief, of suffering, of death. We all struggle to find a sure path through life. Some seek escape through drugs or drink, try to run away from life and burdens that they have to bear. But they soon find that these things they're using to run away from their problems have control of them, and their problems are now 10 times worse than they were before. We need to remember and to focus on the power and the presence of God that is available to all of us. Quiet places for me. They're hard to find these days living in the city. At home, out in the village, during the day, it was usually fairly quiet. On an acre of land, you could find a little spot. And in the summer, I would go down and look up at the sky and follow the clouds.